present. Okay, let's go. Just wanna melt into you. Melt into you. Just wanna melt into you. This is just a tester, right? Welcome back, Diva. Welcome back, Diva. Welcome back, Diva. Wait, why are we whispering? Please feel free to comment anything that's on your mind. Remember that your comments don't only build me, they basically give me an idea on what not to do and how to grow as a creator. So yeah, stick around, guys, and hope you enjoy this video. I held a questionnaire on my Instagram basically asking people what would they like to hear from me. And I got questions like transitioning, hormones, surgeries, and sex work. And my job now is to help people understand either transitioning, or are you planning on transitioning, or if you're looking towards transitioning, this video is for you. And basically, it's the video to try educate people who know nothing about trans women and how we basically live our lives. So we're gonna all get that discussed in this one video. So sit back. Why not shoot a video where you're actually speaking to the masses on this transitioning journey, etc., etc.? So I'm gonna do that. So I hosted a questionnaire on my Instagram, basically asking people what would they like for me to discuss on this channel, and I did just that. So the questions that I got asked were in regards to me transitioning. When did I transition? How about did I transition? How much my surgeries cost? How much the hormones cost? And more primarily stuff that has to do with gender marker change, changing your gender on your official documents, your ID, your passport, etc. So let's get into that. Let's actually get into that, because this video is gonna help someone out there, and I'm all about help. If it's gonna help someone out there, then come in. How did I do it? So basically I transitioned in grade 11 and then immediately transitioned in grade 12. So when did my gender dysphoria start? It started in grade 11, particularly because I was a very proactive kid. As I said, I was very sports orientated. I was all about fitness. I was all about the sports, and there was a bit of a disconnect during that year. And that year was when I went through the most with puberty, and that's when my mental health plummeted. Um, I can't explain the feeling. Hey, it's just, if I were to explain it to a person who's not trans, it would seem crazy. But just imagine it like this: I am an individual. I've been okay with being a boy for certain amounts of years. I thought this was me. I was just gay, flamboyant, a gay feminine boy. And as I was going through grade 11, I was just like, no, and puberty was doing its punches on me. Acne was there. My mood was just shit, And as puberty was progressing, I'm 17, like most of us go through puberty from the age of 13, where now you can see that you're changing, your voice is breaking. Particularly me, my voice broke when I was 16, and now we're rocking it just like this. So I had so much dysmorphia. I did not even know what dysmorphia is. I just had a huge disgust with myself, like looking at myself every day, looking at myself in the mirror every day felt like a struggle. One, puberty. If you were a person who went through puberty and its changes and you had acne, you know how it feels. Like wake up every day and look in the mirror and just see pimples, dark marks, acne, just acne, oil. It felt like hell. It felt like hell. It felt like The days were longer. It felt like I was so disgusted in my body. I was disgusted in my appearance, like going to school and just, like the uniform. It just felt so off for me. And the more I got depressed, the more suicidal I got. It was so bad. It's like a moment in your life where it just meets you out of nowhere and your mood has just shifted. Your perspective of yourself is just disgusting. You can't stand yourself. So as time went by, I researched, you know, about how I'm feeling. I got in touch with my inner self, you know, and that's when I came to the conclusion that this is how I feel. I feel feminine, probably be more comfortable being a woman, in terms of being a boy. It's hideous. It's not for me. I don't I don't resonate with being a masculine being. I don't resonate with being a man, basically. So back in the day I was more proactive on Facebook. Those Philip days. There's the majority of those teenage years where you're more productive on Facebook. And that's where I got into contact with a trans woman. Debucho basically pioneered my transitioning. That was the very first person to actually help me get into contact with people who can help me. So from that assistance, I found myself at Chris Honey Barangwanath Hospital, where I found myself the endocrine section. um, Basically, Debucho was another trans woman who was already undergoing the process of like getting hormones, transitioning medically, and I went there one day. I think it was one of those days where I had to skip school and actually take a taxi and go to Chris Hani Panarangwanath and actually find out what can be done, because I had told myself that I identify as a trans woman, mentally, physically, I do not align with the gender I was born. So I went there with Utebucho because that was also her appointment date. And I went there and told him that I'd like to look towards the idea of medically transitioning. So I went there and I was not met with good news, as any other challenge in life. I was not met with good news. I went there and they told me that you can't transition, my sweetheart. You're too young, you're underage. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put you on a list. It was a long ass list. And then you will be offered the chance to come back next year when you're actually 18. Mind you, I was 17 that year in grade 11. I had no business going there. If I were to go there, I had to inform my mom. And I felt very uncomfortable talking about this with my mom because, like, that is a black ass parent. Like, what are you gonna say to her? I want to be a girl out of nowhere. So I was like, I took the L. I had to wait, but they had taken down my details. The first steps into this were to um, first speak to the psychologist that they had at Chris Honey Barwanath and actually get an idea and assurance that, okay, this person is a transgender woman and them taking these pills will be in alignment for them, and unlike a person who's just confused and just, wants to indulge in these pills that can change their lives forever. So that's what I did. It was July. And then as soon as January hit, the next year, that was 2020. Now, that year, the moment in where I started my hormones, I was looking towards better days, and those better days got worse. That's when COVID-19 was introduced. Things changed, we went into lockdown. Here I am taking hormones, I was taking hormones, and my mood, when I tell you the things that hormones do to your mental health, is so scary. It is scary. You know, you are faced with lockdown, you are at home, at school, ngapha, you have to to make it work. You at home 24/7. You can't be found in the streets. Like that time period in which I started transitioning and the lockdowns where you had to stay home. If you were found outside, that was you getting locked up. That was just another period of my life that was so dark. Hormones can really change your perspective. They can fuck you up mentally, and it's something most people don't know about the hormones. It's really life altering, in terms of mood. But at the same time, during the first month of my hormones, I saw, like, a little breast growth, and that was very excited for me because, like, out of everything that could happen in my body, it's the boobs. And I saw it happening and it felt very amazing. It felt so amazing. But at the same time, I did not know what was waiting for me. Emotionally, I went from having acne to having very clear skin. And then, you know, my mood was just shit. I had to cry it out. If I had outbursts, I had to outburst, and I took it out on people. I was just an emotional wreck. Some people don't even make it out of that stage because, like, they're in this limbo, because they're not aligned with what they represent themselves as. So it's a lot. I went through all those changes during COVID. My grandmother passed away that same year. I was just out of it. You know, my hormones were just all over. So if you are looking towards transitioning, just know that your hormones, your basic mood is gonna be in the roof. You're gonna be an emotional wreck. You're gonna feel suicidal. And if you don't have a support structure, you need one because you can't get through those months, those first few months of hormones alone. You need people who are understanding of how you feel. So I had people around me, trans girls that I started transitioning with at the time, but along the way we grew apart. But you know what? That's life, you know. So that's basically me during that year. And I remember when we had to go back to school after the lockdown, after all that, and people were just shocked at how I looked, because there was a significant change. Fat wise, my face was different. I was chubbier. Imagine I was just a skinny boy, very skinny, had a six pack, and I came back to school looking like a little girl, all feminine. My cheeks were full, I had boob growth. It was just so new. Imagine me being your classmate during that time and you just saw this happen during the time. You're just like, what the fuck is going on? And that's how it was. And I just came to school a different person. It was like, okay, this person was claiming to be trans, they were claiming to be a woman. Now they're actually seeing this thing. It's actually a real thing. It's happening. This person's actually changing. It looked more believable. I was I feel like when I went through those changes, it was like more better for people to see the vision and to accept me more. The bullying went less, and people were like, "Oh, this person actually does exist." The bullying did go down, and it did, but it did not make my year any easier. I was not the same after my grandmother passed away, and that whole journey was just insane. So yeah, that's that for that Matric year. And from there on, the transitioning got easier, bitch. I was eating it up. And I passed my Matric, and here we are, you know, and this is where we are today. Hormones access. So guys, I'm not gonna be all, I know it all. I only know a few hospitals in Johannesburg that you can get access to hormones. One of them were Vets Trans Clinic. Now it's closed. Now it's under Charlotte Macmillan Hospital. And then there is Chris Hani Barangwanath Hospital. And then there's Shawela. Now we have a clinic called Orem, I think. Yeah, Orem. That's where you can access your hormones. If You are in other parts of the country, like Port Elizabeth, Cape Town. I am sorry, but it's worth a try asking different trans women. I think there's a lot of us, and someone out there has access to hormones. If you are a trans woman looking for access to hormones, you're welcome to comment on this video, and with your location, maybe a trans woman in that area would look into it and actually help you. Gender marker change. So a lot of people have asked me this question about gender marker changes. The year I got my gender marker change was in 2021, I think. I had now gone through a year of transitioning. I've established myself that this is the life that I want to live. I've already sifted through the consequences of my transitioning, what it would do to my future, my chances of having my own child. I have sifted throughout everything. I'd established that this is my life now and there's no going back. So in order for you to get your name changed, basically you need two letters. One letter is from the doctor that you are getting your hormones prescribed by, and the other letter is from your psychologist or psychiatrist or whatever. Basically, them supporting you and actually vouching for that you are a trans woman, you have been under hormones during this time period, and that you are what you say you are. So it makes it easier to present at the Home Affairs. So you take both of those letters, and then basically what I needed were my parents' details, um, ID numbers, birth dates, where they were born from, all of that information. And then you needed about 4 pictures of yourself, professionally taken pictures, those pictures that you take at Home Affairs. There's people like you just find there. You need 4 pictures of those, and basically you need your birth certificate, if I'm not wrong. You need it certified at the polling station, and you need an affidavit actually stating that you are about to so once you got everything that you need, so if you haven't caught what you needed to do, the requirements for amendment, it could be gender, it could be name, it could be surname, anything, they're under the Department of Home Affairs website. You're gonna see the what is this? The requirements and what you need. So yeah, that's basically how you that's what you need for your name change. The documents that you need. Um, I did mine in 2021. The normal waiting period for that is about 6 to 12 months. Yeah, it's a lot. So you have to be very patient. But mine took about like 4 to 6 months back then when Home Affairs was not a bit shit. Now it is. You're gonna wait a year. But like, yeah, patience. Patience is virtue. Because during the time I had to wait for my documents, like it was so awkward using my old ID, because my old ID, like, imagine I had to go to places and people would just be like, who the fuck is this? Like, you're trying to commit like identity fraud. I remember I almost got arrested for that. It was such a funny, scary experience all in one. But um just carrying around that ID it just made me so uncomfortable because it made me more prone to questions and me having to disclose ukuthi ngiyini, wada. People just being my business. But when I got back my ID, I felt alive, I felt reborn. I felt, like I felt so good about myself, and that's one of those feelings that I'll never forget during this transitioning. And, it's things to look forward to, especially when it's affecting you, it's affecting your life. So, yeah, I think I've gotten through that question. Now, in terms of my surgeries, I've not done anything to my face. This is my face. I did get my boobs done in 2023. I think I got like 400 cc's. Um, I got my boobs done in a hospital in Port Elizabeth. Port Elizabeth, his name is Dr. Van, I don't know, Dr. Van de Vault. They costed me 55K at the time. And that is a good price because a lot of these girls in this country would tell you to go overseas but the doctor did a really good job, and God bless his ass, he gave me good ass titties. That's another milestone in my transition that I'll never forget. It completed me because I had big boobs. Like I had those teenager boobs, like a little cute B cup. But I'm a very tall individual. I am 5'10", 176 centimeters, and basically I'm a Megan Thee Stallion girl. And I had to have boobs that matched my height, and that's why I got the surgery. Not because I was not grateful for my breast size. I just needed bigger boobs for it to be matching with who I am. So yeah, I spent about 16, if not 63,000 in total, including flights, because I wanted a support structure and I went with a friend and I had to accommodate her flights also and then book accommodation for the surgery. So when you go for surgery, you're basically paying for the doctor's fee, the hospital fee under that 55,000. It has changed. It's the year 2025. It might be around 60. So what I did was pay for surgery, the doctor's fee under that 50K, 55K, and then I had booked my accommodation aside near the hospital. I had booked that. That was about 3.6 for about 7 days in Port Elizabeth, and that was good for me. You know, I got to have the chance to heal, and stick around until the doctor sees me for the next date, which is like after 7 days, they had to see me, consult with me, just check if everything's okay, and then I'd be given the green card to go home. So basically, yeah, you don't get to stay like a full day and be admitted hospital for the whole day. You get surgery and about around 9 a.m. and then around 1 p.m. you get discharged and you have to go. They kick you out because you want to stay at the hospital. That literally costs so much money. And you'll know OT, hospital admission costs. Yeah. So that was that. I got that. And then in the year 2024, I got a liposuction. I know a lot of you think I got a BBL, but bitch, did you really think I got a BBL? Because like my body hasn't changed that much. I already had a big bum. The hormones did what they had to do. They made me thicker. I went from a size 64 in the beginning of my transitioning to like literally now 95 kgs. Imagine how heavier I look because I was a skinny ass bitch. I was so skinny. Now I weigh 94 kgs. And after my surgery, I weighed 103 kgs because I was just in bed and, they removed fat and somehow I was swollen. I went to 150, 105. I'm just like, how did that happen? How does this whole thing work? But yeah, I got better and I love my body now, I'm I'm grateful for it. But yeah, do I have any regrets in terms of these transitioning and these surgeries? I do have regrets, honestly. I feel like my boobs are too big. They are too big. I feel like I could have waited until I turned 23 to like let like the full boob growth grow in, and not because like I did not know that as the older you get and the more weight you gain, your body changes, the more of a woman you become, your body changes to accommodate the woman that you are. Because like fan naughty back then, I was like 17. I was still insecure about 17-year-old boobs. I'm 23, and my boobs have even gotten more bigger on top of the implants that I have. And I was just like, what if I just waited and was patient? Now my boobs are so huge, they're so huge. They grow at its own pace, and it's like, maybe I need to like downgrade because like I feel like they're too heavy and some tops that I wear I just make them look more heavier and I don't like that. But like that, I'm just grateful for having afforded this whole journey. And I believe every mistake that I've made brought me closer to who I am. I can't say I regret doing sex work. I can't I regret any of that because that literally afforded me a life for me to be able to have done these surgeries, to be able to like have, dealt with some of my insecurities. And one advice that I like to share with trans women out there is that do not compare your transition with anyone else. Trust me, how you see me now, if you're trying to look like me now, in the next 2 years. So do not rush your transitioning. Do not compare your transitioning because you're literally putting yourself up for failure. You are fucking up your mental health because now you're literally putting yourself against your expectations. We all come from different families, different genes. What works for me won't work for you. She has a big ass, her body affirmed her, became more feminine. It might not work for you. Another person may have the most manliest face, but like the body is giving, it's just like you can't have it all. Some people have it all. I could look like this, but like the voice didn't change. And but at the same time, now I'm just like more happy about the fact that I'm different. I speak the way I speak. That's what makes me unique. And some people just have banging bodies. Some people almost have it all. And if you're really looking at them and just like, I want to look like that, my babe, just sit down with yourself and tell yourself that this is your own journey. You will eventually get to your own promised look, the look that you've been waiting for and waiting for. It takes time. You can't be in your first year transitioning and already putting so much pressure on yourself. You're still in your first year. That person is in the fifth year, sixth year, fourth year. Give yourself time. Give your body some grace. Give your body, what it means to marinate. It takes time. Eat good. Protect your mental health. That's all I'm going to advise to you. Because comparing yourself with another trans girl is not going to get you anywhere, my love. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's just going to stress you, just make your whole transitioning horrible. Because one thing about me back then, I had no one to look to besides someone I knew, Sabrina and Nkosi. We transitioned at the same time, and I was just like, fuck, this bitch looks so good. But at the same time, I was like, I'm still me, let me go through this journey. And you don't know when your parents' genes will pop through. And there's trans girls now that I can see that they have changed significantly. You can't. Some people don't even see their changes, but like another person will. Some girls don't need boob surgery because their growth has gone way beyond their expectations. Their boob growth. So all I can say is that if you feel like pills are not working for you, and like me, I started with pills. I started with Premarin, and those pills did wonders for me. But they gave me a lot of uh, mkaba, and I was not happy about that. I was not happy about the fact that banging mkaba, but like I was so happy about the changes in my body. I went from a size 64 to a size 87 to now I'm in the 90s. You know, it gave me a rounder face, like clear skin, softer skin. My beard disappeared, because like when I transitioned, I did not have much of an appearing beard, but like the voice breakout was there, different changes basically. But now my skin is softer, my face is rounder, my skin is softer, like it like it needed like the hormones did what they need to be done. So in terms of like the type of hormones that I'm on injections right now because I started with pills and I felt like it's time to switch. And I did switch and I pay for those injections by myself. But I do get the prescription from the clinic that I go to, which is now Charlotte Maclaye, which is formerly Vits. So I get a prescription and then I order those hormones privately. So I've been taking injections for the past 2 years, and I feel like they're the most quickest thing. They go directly to the blood. They do what they have to do. So if you're on pills thinking they're not working for you, why not change to injections? Because a lot of people have been on pills, and immediately they started being on injections, bitch. That boob growth went in. Everything just took a big change. So consider those options. There is injections, there's pills orally, and then there's patches. The patches is like it's patches. It's in the word. So yeah, Diva, be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself, be gracious with your time, protect your mental health, because you are all that you got. You are all that you got. Trust me, be in your own pace. Don't look at another girl's transitioning and think that you're not doing anything. It'll happen eventually. How I look is how you'll see me in the next 5 years. You will look like me in the next 5 years, and you'll be like, why was it so stressed about her transition while I was still in my first year? You are gonna look like me. Trust me. You are gonna look like me, but do not expect your level 2 to be the same as a person who's on the 8 level. Do not put such stress on yourself. So yeah, do not. But all along this journey, I'd like to say that it's there's nothing that I regret. I lived through my mistakes. You know, I've made friends. I've gone out of friendships because like my beliefs now is that as a trans woman, you can't trust these bitches because in some way or form, there is the next person competing with you in some other way. Advice that I'd give a trans girl is that be careful. Be careful. Do not put your whole heart into friendships as a trans woman with other trans girls because it's not going to go the way you want, you know. And I'd like to say I'm just speaking from a point of trauma, but it's something everyone in the community has realized is that there's just girls who just come from a place of hurt. A lot of trans women have things to heal from, honestly, you know, from being sexualized to their backgrounds, to their childhoods. And a lot of girls are just, not trustworthy. A lot of people have their own agendas, they're not healed. They're just damaged human beings transitioning. And that's what I'd like to, put out there is that just be cautious, protect your mental health, you know, do not associate yourself with men who do not see the worth in you. Do not give men access to you, Do not give men access to you, especially if they don't deserve it. Stop looking for validation in the wrong places. If a man has shown you ample times that he will never be with you, and just take it as it is, rejection is a point of redirection. That's all. That's what I know now. Is that rejection is redirection. Take it as that. Rejection is redirection. What is meant for you will find you eventually. What does not want you, don't stick beside it. And just like take everything with a grain of salt. Friendships, men lie, what he tells you, he might have told another person. Men lie about the experiences with trans women. It's my first time with a trans girl, blah, blah, blah. It's all crap. We are in 2025. A lot of men have had encounters with trans women. There's a lot of us. Trust me. What you know now, there is a lot of us. Populations. Soweto is the biggest township in South Africa with the largest population of trans women. That nigga has
Mary. No, it
these men are ran through. They've been busted. They've been netted in. They have done it all. And he's gonna come to you and be like, "You are my first trans woman. I'm new to this, so." Time for one last question. In terms of sex work, if you're trying to get into sex work as a trans woman, I beg you, do not make this your life entirely. From a point that I'm in now, who's done sex work for like 4 years, I can say that life is long. Life is long. I wish I'd been more accommodating to future thoughts in terms of me showing my face in my internet videos. But I'm very grateful that I used an alias in terms of name, that I did not use my name entirely in all my my sex work social media settings, that I used an alias, another name. Be careful in terms of showing your face, because things like this do come back in the future to bite you, unfortunately. As much as you landed in that position and where you had to do what you had to do, these things matter in the real world. Job wise, they matter. In terms of everything, they matter. I'm going to get into depth about all of these things in a YouTube video that I'll be dropping soon. And feel free to ask me questions. I am very accommodative to questions, so I can have like a layout on things to speak about. But in terms of that, I will never shit on sex work in my life, regardless of where I am in life right now. I will never look down on sex work because it got me the things that I have today. It got me to places I've never been to. But at the same time, I will never look down on people who still do it, because they have a reason for doing it. I'm just at a more foreseeing place in my life where now I have to deal with those consequences. I'm now in a place where I see. Be very careful with that. If you're a trans woman and you're trying to live through this, do not make it your entire being. While you're doing this, make means to have other things that you're doing, like studying. Do not let go of school. Trust me, if you are fortunate enough to have good marks in high school and you have that fighting power and you have that more advantage to become accepted to courses that you do want, use that advantage. Use it. Guys, school is important. Unfortunately, in the real world, school is important. It's gonna get you places. It might look like it isn't as a trans woman, but it'll eventually get you places. Do not place your bets on sex work. It's not sustainable. Sustainability is the key word in this. Sustainability, and just drive. Do something with your life. I know we are accustomed to sex work most of our times. That's how it is. That's how things are for women in general. Fight through the prejudice, fight through the discrimination, just be about your bag, be smart about it. I'm going to be recording a YouTube video basically underlining the cons, the pros and cons, how to be able to manage your finances. Because, guys, financial management in sex work is a must. Because if you're making all this money and you do not know what to do with it, you'll be making a lot of stupid mistakes that you don't need to make. Financial literacy is a thing. How to manage your finances, how to plan for the future, how to put your money in the correct places. Like, you're not going to be those wigs and makeup your whole entire life. You're not going to live in those thingies. Like, at least make means to save up for something, a car, a house, do something with that money. Just stop living in the moment. Those things are not going to run away. They'll still be there in the next 10 years. Be smart about your money. That's all I have to say. Guys, thank you so much for watching this YouTube video. Thank you for getting to this point. If you've watched this YouTube video till this point, please do subscribe, comment. Your comments mean so much to me because they help me improve. Imagine a person just going blindly into something and not having critics critic me in certain things. I am more welcome to critic. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope to see you on the next one. And the next one will be entertaining. And the next one, and I might have people on this page, but stick with me because I'll stick with you.